Hi there, my name is Richard McMunn from the interview training website passmyinterview.com, and in this tutorial I will teach you how to answer communication skills interview questions. So if you have a job interview coming up, there is a strong possibility the interviewer will ask you a number of questions that assess your ability to communicate effectively. So let's get straight into it and start working through a number of interview questions that I recommend you prepare for. And the first one is, how do you build rapport with others at work? So being able to build a good rapport with others that is conducive to positive working relationships is vital in all job roles. And in your answer to this question, show the interviewer you understand exactly what you need to do to build good working relationships. So here's a great answer to help you. How do you build rapport with others at work? I build rapport at work by always following 5 golden rules. Rule number 1 is to always be observant. It is important to assess the needs of others. Whether it's work colleagues, customers or clients, you should take the time to find out what their needs are. The second rule is to be a good listener. If you listen to people, not only can you learn a tremendous amount from them, but it is a great way to show that you value both them and their opinion. The third rule is to communicate with clarity. Now, it does not matter who you are communicating with, you should consider carefully what you want to say and then take the time to put it across in a positive, friendly and concise manner. Rule number 4, I will always try to establish a common purpose in order to build rapport. Now, this might be a shared interest, a value, a goal, or a common perspective. And finally, rule number 5 is to be patient. Building rapport can take time, and it is essential that you have the patience to build trust with other people. That's a really good answer. I like it because you're talking about 5 golden rules that you follow that help you to build rapport with others at work. So when you join their organization, you will be able to fit into their team quickly. Here's the next question. Tell me how you would go about persuading someone to see your point of view at work. Now, this is a common communication skills interview question, but it is not an easy one to answer. In your response, focus on how you would use your knowledge, your passion and confidence, and your outstanding communication skills to persuade the other person to see your point of view. So here's another great answer to help you. Tell me how you would go about persuading someone to see your point of view at work. First and foremost, it is important that you believe in your own ideas and suggestions. If you do not believe in them, you have zero chance of persuading or influencing others to do the same. You need to take your time to decide how you are going to convince the other person to see your point of view. And to achieve that goal, your own knowledge of the subject matter should be second to none. To start off with, I would listen to the other person's point of view and I would ask them questions to establish exactly what it was that was preventing them from agreeing with me. Whilst communicating with them, I would match their body language and their style of communication, and I would speak with passion and confidence. I would never force my viewpoint onto someone, but instead I would take my time to break down their arguments with facts and evidence until I managed to convince them that my point of view was the right one. That's another really strong answer to that competency-based communication skills interview question. Here's another one. How would you explain a complex problem to someone with limited knowledge about the subject? Again, this is a very common interview question that requires an answer that shows you have the patience, the adaptability, and the skills to communicate an important piece of information to someone who has limited or no knowledge. So here's a great way to answer this tough interview question. How would you explain a complex problem to someone with limited knowledge about the subject? In my experience, the most effective way to explain a complex or technical problem is to follow a simple 5-step process. Step number 1. You should establish their current level of knowledge. This can be achieved by asking questions about what they already know and understand. Number 2, you should explain things in very simple terms without the use of jargon or technical information. Now, this requires patience and it is essential not to rush. Number 3, as you communicate with them, you should illustrate where possible and use visual props or diagrams. Number 4, it is important to try and use relatable frames or references. Now, if someone understands a common concept and you can relate your information to how that works, it is easier for them to absorb the information. And finally, number 5, it is imperative to encourage the other person to ask questions along the way. This gives them the time to digest the information and to ask questions in order to gain clarity of understanding. So that is a brilliant answer that shows that you follow a 5-step process that is tried and tested, it will work, and that enables you to explain complex information or problems to someone who has little or no knowledge. Here's the next question. Tell me about a time when your communication skills made a difference to a situation. Now, this question requires a specific situation you've previously been in where you used effective communication skills. Here's the perfect example answer to guide you. Tell me about a time when your communication skills made a difference to a situation. A new member of staff joined our team a few months ago, and her English was not very good. She was struggling to understand some of the processes we utilised at work, so I decided to help her. I started off by sitting down with her and finding out what skills and experiences she already had. I took my time to ask lots of questions and I took notes as we communicated. I then created a quick plan of action of what we would need to cover to get her up to speed quickly. I started off by explaining all the company processes in very simple terms. I used illustrations to explain things in a simple manner, and I then asked her questions to make sure she fully understood everything. At all times whilst communicating with her, I was patient, I made her feel supported, and I gave her every opportunity to ask as many questions as she wanted. That's a great example answer of a situation you might have been in where your communication skills made a big difference to a situation. Here's the next question. If you experienced a breakdown in communication with someone at work, what would you do? Now, this is a very difficult interview question to answer. However, if we apply common sense and use a structured approach to resolving the situation, we can provide a brilliant answer that shows we are great at communicating. Here it is. If you experienced a breakdown in communication with someone at work, what would you do? A breakdown in communication is usually down to a lack of understanding of the other person's needs or interests. I would start off by owning any mistakes I had made previously before increasing my listening and observational skills. Now, it would be important to go back to basics and to decide what is important to both parties. I would then start the dialogue of communication again, but only this time I would utilise a different approach. I would ask more questions. I would show appreciation for their concerns, and I would use an approachable, considerate and positive style of communication to achieve a successful outcome that was beneficial to both parties. Now, at all times I would focus on unity and trying to win the person over as opposed to winning the argument. That's another great answer. Here's another question. Which is more important, being a good listener or talker? So again, this is not an easy question to answer, and most people will say that talking is more important because you can influence people by doing so. However, here's how I would answer this question. Which is more important, being a good listener or talker? In my experience, whilst you need to be great at both listening and talking, the skill of listening is 100% more important. It is very easy to tell someone what you need and what you want, but to listen to someone with purpose and depth takes a different level of skill altogether. There are numerous benefits to listening, including the fact that you get to learn, and you also get to hear what is important to the other person, which is empowering. Listening enables you to build better relationships with people, and it also allows you to see things from a different perspective. That's a brilliant answer. It is a clever response to that common communication skills interview question, which is more important, being a good listener or talker. Now, if you would like a copy of these slides and also a further 20 competency-based interview questions, click that link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. It takes you through to my website, passmyinterview.com. You get a copy of these slides and, as I say, a further 20 competency-based interview questions and top scoring answers that will help you to pass your interview. Please don't forget to give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Lots of you are passing your job interviews as a result of the content, which is brilliant news. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I've put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the best for passing your job interview. Have a brilliant day.